Gravedigger, a Day Brandstetter mystery, Book 6. Author, Joseph Hansen. Publisher, Open Road Integrated Media, New York. Narrator, Eric Aust. Chapter 11. She was right. There were no pictures. Not anymore. Edwards had come back and taken the envelope away. Dave shut the desk drawer. He felt bad about it, but not beaten. She had good sense. When she got over her hurt, she would begin to use her brains, and they were better brains than Edwards possessed. He smiled. To smile was easier here at home again in Horseshoe Canyon, clothed, walking around. The doctor had asked him not to leave the hospital, but he had left anyway, limping, arm in a sling, rib cage tightly bandaged, bruises, colorful and tender, cuts and scrapes, not yet healed. Pills of several kinds stood in little amber plastic containers on a bathroom shelf. What he needed 2 hands for, Cecil could help with. Cecil napping right now up in the loft. Dave sat down, picked up the phone, and punched Lovejoy's number at Banner Insurance. "You came highly recommended," Lovejoy said, "but we didn't have in mind for you to get into it so sincerely as to get yourself killed." Dave could picture him, a sleek, well-fed black with an easy chuckle and sad, solemn eyes. "I was by to see you, but you weren't conscious." "Thank you for the flowers," Dave said. "We'll cover your medical bills. The hospital." "I appreciate that," Dave said. "Do something else for me, will you?" "Any way I can help?" Lovejoy said. "Write Westover a letter, please. Make it read as if Banner is all cocked to pay. Say your claims investigator just needs the answers to a few simple routine questions so he can authorize payment of the claim. We'll have set up a meeting so he can sign the forms, include my phone number and address, and spell my name right." "He tried to kill you," Lovejoy objected. "He won't when he knows what I want," Dave said. "I should have thought of that letter as soon as I found out he was picking up his mail. I wasted time." "You really think he'll come out to meet you after what happened?" "He doesn't drive all the way down out of that canyon to his mailbox every night to collect valentines. He wants that money. Don't ask me why. It's only a fraction of what he needs. But he wants it desperately." "We could pay it," Lovejoy said doubtfully. "We always could have. 50-50 chance the girl is dead." "I suppose. I just hate not knowing is all." Dave told him about his talk with Lucky at Perez. "Is a month in the ground enough for a body to rot that badly?" Lovejoy said. "In the desert?" "Not in summer," Dave said. "But it's been winter. The wildflowers are out up there. Never seen so many. Which means there has to have been a lot of rain. Which means a month may have been enough." "I'm not going to like paying a man that tried to waste my investigator," Lovejoy said. "He didn't know who I was," Dave said. "Anyway, you're not writing a check. You're only writing a letter. This isn't over yet. Far from it." "I'll write the letter," Lovejoy said. "No need for you to go following him again." "I'm not planning on it," Dave said. He sat on a couch in the front building and ate wheat crackers that he spread with a French herb cheese, soft, white specked with green. He washed the crackers and cheese down with bouillon from a mug. Lunch had been late, one-armed. He'd been slow in getting it ready, and proud of maneuvering it without Cecil's help. It was fancy, a kind of chicken parmesan. Cecil had liked it. They'd taken their time over it, and afterward, there'd been only just enough time for Cecil to shower and get to work. So Dave wasn't all that hungry now. The expensive stereo equipment Amanda had installed up here played the new Paris Opera recording of Lulu with Teresa Stratus. Berg's music made all other music sound anemic. But he disliked the way recordings hurried operas past him. He missed the intermissions. He got off the couch to turn the record over and winced. He ought to have brought the painkillers with him. He didn't feel like hiking for them to the rear building. Maybe he ought to go back there and get into bed. It was early, but he felt bad. He ached. He stood where he was unable to make up his mind. Out beyond the shiny black French windows, crickets sang. The pulse slow because of the cold. He switched off the stereo and, moving gingerly, made himself a drink. He returned to the couch with it and, clumsily, one-handed, wrapped up what was left of the cheese in its soft foil. He set the empty bouillon mug on the plate with the knife and the cheese, but he couldn't carry them and the drink, too. To the cook shack, he twitched a smile. Bad luck. He'd just have to finish the drink here, and when he got to the back building, make another to take up to bed with him. He lit a cigarette and sipped the scotch, and the telephone rang. He could let the machine answer it. He didn't. He forced himself up and limped to the phone. "You're looking for Charles Westover?" a voice said. "Where is he?" Dave said. "It'll cost you," a man's voice, oddly muffled. Dave didn't recognize it. He said, "How much?" $500, the voice said. "Cash." "Is this Harry O'Rourke?" Dave said. "I thought you were in jail." There was a pause. "A dude I know went bail for me. That's why I need the $500 to pay him back." "I doubt that," Dave said. "You want Westover or not?" Another pause. Dave didn't fill it. O'Rourke went on. "Bring the money to the Santa Monica Pier. I'll meet you there in an hour." "Come here," and Dave said. "I haven't got a car." "Find one," O'Rourke said. 100 when we meet," Dave said. "The rest when I found Westover." "I need it all up front," O'Rourke said. "You can trust me. Come on, man. I have to have the 5. Goodbye," Dave said. "No, wait," O'Rourke yelped. "You've got a deal." "It's supper time," Dave said. "There'll be a lot of people on that pier for the restaurants. How do I find you?" "Just walk around out there," O'Rourke said. "I'll find you." The receiver hummed in Dave's ear. He laid it in its cradle. Why had Salazar told O'Rourke about Westover's disappearance? Why had Salazar mentioned Dave to O'Rourke? He sat on the couch, picked up the receiver again, and punched Salazar's number. "I want to go home," Salazar said. "I'm already late. Howie O'Rourke just phoned me." Dave said, "He's out on bail." "How does he know I'm looking for Westover?" "He didn't hear it from me," Salazar said. "But it wasn't O'Rourke you were talking to. A man doesn't get out on bail when he's in for breaking parole." Dave recited the conversation. "You made a mistake," Salazar said, giving him a name to use, saying you thought he was in jail. Whole scenario. "What a shame," Dave said. "First mistake I ever made. But it's interesting. No? Hell of a lot more interesting than if it had been old Howie himself. He isn't truthful." "My dinner will be interesting," Salazar said, "if I don't have to listen to my wife's bitch about how late I was getting home for it." "I'm stuck here with no car," Dave said. "Drive me to the pier. You can arrest the man for attempted extortion and impersonating a criminal. Afterward, I'll buy you a big juicy lobster and all the booze you can drink." "You want the Santa Monica police," Salazar said. "I don't know anyone on the Santa Monica police. I've only got an hour. It would take that long to explain to a stranger what it's all about. Anyway, Westover's officially a missing person. His son reported it. Westover disappeared from your jurisdiction. Now's your chance to find him." "Shit," Salazar sighed. "Okay, where do you live?" He peered through a grimy window in the hangar-sized room where the merry-go-round used to turn, all gilt and crimson, a glitter with mosaics of mirror, the staunch and gaudy horses rising and falling on their tall brass poles in ceaseless dream. Work lights glared tonight, where for years there had been only darkness. The horses lay along one side of the room, their paint and gesso striped, their white carved wood shining softly like the pieces of unfinished furniture in Don Gallard's shop. Under the work lights, reaching from ladders, men painted the carousel itself. Someone was restoring it. It was going to turn and glitter again. From its bowels, the orgatron would shout and wheeze and bang its drums and cymbals into the popcorn. Night once more. He was pleased. He had good memories of this merry-go-round. Old, very old, but still good. He turned away and checked his watch. The man who claimed to be Howie O'Rourke was 40 minutes late. Dave glanced back toward where the pier raked up to meet the Palisades. Salazar leaned against a lamppost, smoking one of his little brown cigarettes. Dave wanted to go to him, find the car with him, be driving home, He wasn't in pain. He had swallowed pills to keep the pain back, but he was tired. He had walked twice to the end of the pier, along the thick, splintery planks, through pools of yellow light cast by spaced lamps along the pier, to where winches rusted now that used to raise and lower boats, before the building of the marina, but where people still fished at night, elbows on chalky wooden railings, eyes on the black water below that lisped around barnacled pilings and gave back wavery reflections of the lamplight. He had been out there twice and back here to the merry-go-round barn. He was fed up, but he didn't want to leave too soon. He would give it another few minutes. "What happened to your arm?" Lyle Westover said. He was neat. New suit, shiny shoes. A girl almost as frail as he was with him. She stood back a pace and looked shy. Her hair was honey-colored. She didn't wear makeup, didn't need it. She was pretty. Poor trio. "Are you alone? We're going to eat over there. Will you join us?" "Thanks, but I'm working. Look, don't take anything out of your mailbox addressed to your father, all right? Shall I watch for him? Talk to him?" Dave shook his head. "That would be dangerous. I do care about him, you know. Just because I flew off to Nashville, just because I'm going out to dinner." "Stop punishing yourself," Dave said. "Who's your friend? What does she play?" "Her name was Jennifer, and she played the cello." "Dangerous?" Lyle said. "How did you hurt your arm?" Dave told him. The boy looked ready to weep. He said, "He must be crazy. This isn't him. Mr. Brandstetter, this is not the way he is. Not the way he used to be." Dave said, "Do you know a young woman, blonde, bony, connected with your father? Someone who worked for him, maybe a secretary?" "Miss Halverson was his secretary, but she was 60. When he closed his offices, she went back to Iowa. That's where her mother lives. Her mother is 90. I'm sorry about your arm." "Occupational hazard," Dave said. "Don Gallard has disappeared too. I think they may be together. Up there in Yucca Canyon." "I left the address book for you," Lyle said. "There are no Yucca Canyon numbers in it," Dave said. Salazar came up. Dave told him, "This is Lyle Westover. John Salazar, Sheriff's Office." Lyle held out his hand, and Salazar took it and hung on to it. "Are you the one who phoned?" Lyle blinked. He said he hadn't phoned anyone. Who did Mr. Salazar mean? But his speech was thick, and Salazar didn't understand. That was clear from the dazed look he threw Dave. He let go of Lyle's hand. "I guess you weren't the one who phoned it," he said. "Good to see you," Dave said. "Have a nice supper." Lyle mumbled and awkwardly shook Dave's hand. The girl managed a timid little smile. They went off together. Lyle walked like a badly strung marionette. He and the girl entered a shacky, gray-board restaurant where the prices were anything but shacky. Lyle hadn't wanted credit for Nashville, but apparently he'd taken the cash. "You hustled them off fast," Salazar said. "Did I hurt his feelings?" I didn't mean to. I was shocked. What's wrong with his mouth?" "No one seems to know," Dave said. "It wasn't that. I was afraid one of you might mention O'Rourke, and when that child finds out what happened to the money his father borrowed from Gallard, he's not going to take it well." "Where's our man?" Salazar frowned up and down the pier. "You sure there was a man?" He looked closely into Dave's eyes. "What kind of pills are you taking?" "There was a man, all right." Dave moved off toward the shaky wooden staircase that led by crooked stages down to the parking lot below the pier. "But he never meant to meet me. Not here, not anywhere. He didn't want money. He wanted me out of my house, didn't he? Which means I'd better get back there and find out why." "You have a blanket or something?" Salazar's suit was thin. He stood in front of the fire he had built in the grate in the back building, but it was still cold in the high, hollow, pine-walled room. Dave sat at his desk, disgustedly sorting through receipts. These had piled up from the remodeling, carpenter's bills, bills from electricians, suppliers of lumber, plaster, conduit, pipe, brick, and mortar, shingles, glass, fabric, carpet. Dozens of them. He smiled grimly. Here were the ones he needed. Best audio. Tape deck, cassette deck, turntable, amplifier, receiver, White's television, sets, video recorder, bay office supply, typewriter, copying machine, telephone answerer, calculator. Take a blanket off the bed up there, Dave said. Then if you want to, you can write down those serial numbers for me. Wilshire, camera, Leica, Bosch and Loam. He kept the receipts for the stolen stuff out and pushed the rest. Flimsy pink, yellow, blue carbon copies back in the drawer and shut the drawer. But they won't turn up, will they? Exercise in futility. Salazar came to the desk, wrapped in a blanket, and made drama out of trying to keep the blanket around him while he dug out a notebook and pencil. Maybe it wasn't acting. He shivered and his nose had started to run. He hooked a foot around a chair leg and moved the chair to the desk and sat down on it. In the band of light from the desk lamp, his fingers toiled, copying the numbers off the receipts. What you need is booze. What I'm going to get. Salazar jerked his head, sniffling noisily. It's double pneumonia. This son of a bitch must have known you had all this expensive junk. Who could it be? You just remodeled. Somebody worked here fixing the place up? Dave came back from the bar with brandy for Salazar and for himself. Drink that. If it doesn't make you well, it will make you forget you're sick. He sat down again. The painkillers were wearing off, and he really did want to crawl into bed now. Maybe you're right, but there were a lot of them, and I didn't stand around admiring what they did as they did it. He pulled the rumpled receipts out of the drawer again. Here are all the contractors, if you want to check out the personnel. Gee, thanks. Salazar closed the notebook. Okay, that gets the serial numbers of everything stolen. He drank deeply from the brandy. Hey, you may be right about this. He closed a hand over the receipts and stuffed them into a inside jacket pocket. Blanket huddled around him. He went back to the fireplace and slowly turned in front of it, toasting himself. Get a lot of robberies up here? Housebreakings? I don't know. The neighbor's well enough to ask, Dave said. The telephone rang. He picked it up. Brandstetter. Is that you this time? Dave didn't know the voice. Not at first, because I don't talk to machines. The stupid country is going to hell. No people anymore, just machines. You're at the filling station in Yucca Canyon? Dave said. What's happened? The rolls come in again? Not the rolls, the filling station boy said. The girl, the skinny one, with the cheap blonde hair. Only this time, she's driving an old Impala. Right front fender smashed. The headlights out. Beautiful, Dave said. Did you get the license number? I thought you'd like that, the boy said. He gave the number. Dave said, just a second. And to Salazar, you want to write this down for me, please? He repeated the number. Salazar wrote the blanket, slithering to his feet. The boy said, Nevada. Is that so? Dave said. And to Salazar, Nevada. The boy said, you see, I didn't lose your card. I tacked it up like you said. This any help? Great help, Dave said. Thank you very much. Have you seen by any chance a gray panel truck? Yellow lettering. Name Gallard? Fine furniture or something like that? On the side? Just the Impala, green and white. 1958. The damage was new. If you call that damage, Dave said, you should see the other car. What happened? What other car? Mine, Dave said. Up your canyon a few nights ago. Very late, in the rain. That Impala ran me off the road. I got out, but my TR is ashes. Jesus, the boy said. Was it her driving? I don't think so. But don't cross her, all right? Shit, the boy said. No way. He had to be careful not to forget and roll onto his sore shoulder, and being careful of that kept him awake. He piled up pillows and read and kept falling asleep reading. Finally, he switched off the lamp. He woke, startled in the dark. The diode-lighted red numerals of the clock said 1:20. He turned cautiously to switch the lamp on again and felt something snap under his hip. The light showed him his glasses. One of the lenses popped out. Getting it back into the frame with one hand would be a neat trick. Cecil would do it. He was due. Dave frowned. Overdue. That was what had wakened him. He lit a cigarette and lay propped up in the heavy turtleneck sweater, waiting for the sound of the van jouncing into the bricked yard of the front building. Instead, the sound was of the telephone. It was beginning to bore him, the telephone was. But he stubbed out the cigarette and picked up the receiver. "You are not going to believe this," Cecil said. His voice shook. "I don't hardly believe it myself, but I am under arrest. I am at the Central Police Station, and they are subjecting me to indignities." And Dave sat up fast and swung his feet to the floor. The boards were cold. "What in God's name for?" "Theft! It seems I crept in and removed from your house your stereo, your TV, typewriter, camera. I don't know what all. What I do know is that it was all of it right there in the back of my van in the parking lot outside Channel 3. "I was wondering where it had gone," Dave said. "I didn't take it," Cecil said. "I hope to Jesus you know I didn't take it." "Oh, I know that," Dave said. He had made a bad miscalculation. He ought to have told Cecil about Miles Edwards. The photographs, the encounter in this bed, the unhappy confrontation with Amanda. Was Miles Edwards around there tonight? The television studio. Yeah, he was here. Talked to me for a while at my desk. We had a cup of coffee. Why? It would have been early, right? 6:30. Who cares? Man, I am in trouble. "Take it easy," Dave said. "It won't last. They can't hold you if I don't press charges. I can't come, but I'll send my lawyer. He'll have you out in no time." "How did that shit get in my truck?" Cecil said. "Who told them it was there?" "Edwards," Dave said. "Was he around there later?" "Later? I was out in a Channel 3 car. That's how they think I'm guilty. Nobody at the station saw me from 7 till 10. Got a call to talk to a man about a story. I've been working up. I'm on street gangs." "Only you couldn't find the man," Dave said. "You got it. But it sounded so good, I hung around. Then, when he didn't show, I went looking for him. Places I knew he went. I wasted 3 hours. Never did find him." "Had you told Edwards about this street gang story?" Dave said. "Over your friendly cup of coffee." "How'd you know?" "That was spoken to Dave." His next remark was to someone else. "Keep away from me, man!" "Down there at the glass house," Dave said, "were your keys in your pockets when they told you to empty them?" "Told me to unlock the van first." "Yeah, I had my keys." "Then Edwards did come back and returned the keys to your jacket pocket, which he'd lifted them from earlier." "You mean he drove my van up to Horseshoe Canyon and loaded it up with your stuff while I was out chasing around after nobody?" "He's clever with the telephone," Dave said. "He got me out of here in exactly the same way. Listen, we're wasting time. Let me phone Abe. He'll have you out of there in an hour. Meantime, try not to hit anybody." "All right." "An hour? I said get away from me, man." "This call is my right. Leave me alone. Can't he make it 15 minutes? I will never get the stink of this place off me." "I'll tell him to hurry," Dave said. "And I want you to know how sorry I am. I was the cause of this, and I'm not going to get over it." "Why would Edwards—" But something happened to the connection. Dave thumbed the brake button on his own instrument and then punched Abe Greenglass's home number. Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold: to offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides, and in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.